I was top 3 in the UK for my numbers in terms of how much I offed, in terms of my capabilities, so the shoes I could off. I was never late to work, and I used 2 of my 3 paid sick days, which they allowed us to have in the end, right? They fired me in 5 minutes, bro. That week, I was so depressed. I was like, I'm going to have to go back home to my mum's. Like, London's expensive and I cannot afford this. So I had 2 months left after they paid me my final pay or whatever. And I said, within these 2 months, I got to do everything in my power to make sure I never go back home.
So obviously, Fabio,
yeah,
FD,
yeah,
FD from the
yeah,
F with a small F, FD from the future.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different FDs, a lot of different Fabios. You know? So tell me a little bit more, especially like FD from the future. Like that name, I know it means something, but I want you to explain to me what it means.
Yeah. So obviously Fabio Dessena is my real name. So I'm half Italian, half South African. Fabio Antonio Dessena is my real name. So kind of more Italian than South African, I'll say, right? So FD started when I was a rapper. So I rapped like my whole teenage life because I grew up around a lot of boys and a lot of boys were rapping and things like that. And I started taking it more serious when I was about 16, 17. And basically my artist name was FD with a lowercase f. And the lowercase f and the caps D, it kind of represented like always being like the underdog. I know that sounds kind of corny, but like, I'm not gonna lie, when I was 16, I thought that shit was like so tapped. Like, I thought I was tapped in, like I thought I was leveled. So it was just FD, and then basically in 2018, I went to Toronto because I linked up with he was big at the time, and like for all the Toronto man who are like big on music and a lot of people who grew up in that era, they would know who Prime Boys are. So there was a group in Toronto called Prime Boys, and I guess the main guy in it was called Jimmy Prime. And he was kind of around the OVO camp and things like that. And I linked up with him in Toronto. But the problem was when I was going there 2 weeks before, their close friend Smoke Dogg, who was a big rapper in Toronto, he got killed. So like all the plans that were meant to happen just flopped. So I only saw him once when I was out there. But when we were out there, we chopped it up, and I was like, he was like, you need to brand yourself correctly. And he was like, think of like a Instagram @ or something where people can like kind of attach that with your name. And his name was Jimmy from the 6. So I was like, can I have like FD from, I was thinking, because I'm from Crawley, West Sussex, I was thinking like FD from the 10 because it was RH10. So I was like, something like that. And then I was like, what about FD from the future? And he was like, yeah, I mean, it works. So I was like, cool. So when I rapped, my @ was FD from the future. But now the stuff I do now, everybody knows me as FD from the future. So it's kind of like I embodied it before I even knew it.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that story.
Yeah.
And especially when you're talking about FD from the future, it's like your future self coming now.
Yeah, and like it's such a good brand name because when I do a lot of stuff, that people are like I might get clothes early or something, and they're like, how'd you do it? I'm like, I'm from the future, mate. You know what I'm saying? So like it kind of works in my favor. But yeah, I mean, when I first created it, I didn't really think anything of it.
Yeah.
But now it's definitely like, it's me, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Talking about creativity or creation, let's go to creativity. So you mentioned that you used to be a rapper. So when it comes to creativity in general, like now that you're a content creator, have you always kind of had that kind of brain where you like to make things, you like to kind of show your individual personality, would you say?
Yeah, man, like basically my parents migrated to this country when I was about 2 years old. And my pops, like, he was not creative. He wasn't really, this is no shot at him, I love him, but he wasn't really a driven person, anything like that. But my mum was like the breadwinner, and like she would always be creative, you know, making stuff we didn't have money. So she would always find ways to, you know, like craft things up and make new things, or like always be creative. Like when we were kids, she always really wanted me to draw and things like that. And I struggled like really bad academically. And my parents split up in year 6, and like, yeah, I mean, I don't know how deep you want to go today, pause, like, but yeah, the same year, they split up, my mum got cancer. So like my teenage life was very confusing and very troubled for me. But one thing that was always through that is creative ways that I was expressing myself. So I love music. This was the era of Tumblr. So like I adored Tumblr. Like I owe everything to that platform because I learned everything about fashion, everything about music on Tumblr. I'll be drawing a lot, things like that. Poems, I used to write a lot of poems. And then I said this in another podcast before, but obviously I'm white, but I grew up, a lot of my friends were black, majority of my friends were black, and they rapped as well. So I always thought, like, being the white boy in the group, like I wanted to try harder. Like I wanted to feel like I was part of the group as much as everybody else. So like I would always try way harder, like to rap better and things like that. And I think because of that, it almost like sped up the process of creativity because it allowed me to kind of do a lot more than like an average 14-year-old, 15-year-old, because I was trying to impress everybody else. Yeah. But yeah, I think anything I do, I thrive so much better in like creative fields than like academic. Like I'm definitely dyslexic. Like I have ADD, pretty sure I have ADHD. I've never been tested for it, but like I have so many symptoms of it. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. No, thanks for sharing with me. So I guess through that period of time when you're trying different outlets, was there one thing that kind of shone through? And on top of that, like, did that help you go through the trauma, I'd say, like through what was going on with your parents?
I'll keep it a buck. I think, you know what it was? I think, that's a good question because I never really thought of it. I think when I was younger, I didn't realize the importance of creative things. So yeah, like I might have been going through some stuff and maybe drawing some things or whatever, but I didn't actually realize how therapeutic it was. Yeah. But obviously as you get older, as you mature, you kind of understand these things a lot more. But then, for instance, when I rapped, a lot of, when I was opening up in my music and things like that, you could obviously tell that like that was a way of expressing myself without telling people as such, because I wasn't really a big talker when I was growing up. But I think as you get older, you know, you mature, your emotions mature, things like that. So I think the one thing that has stood out the whole time in any creative thing that I've done is my honesty. Even now, as a content creator, I'm completely honest. I don't wear a mask, I don't lie. When I was drawing and things like that, I used to draw, it was quite like cartoony and stuff like that, but like I was being honest with my art form. And like when I rapped, I was being myself, you know, like everyone was like, why don't you make drill music? Why don't you make what was it? What was that era, Tris? You know, like young ads. Yeah, or like young ads, like when he first started doing the melody, I was like, nah, like I want to rap. Like, so yeah, I think honesty was like the best thing that has been like in all my creative fields. Yeah.
So, because I know for me, for example, like I'm the opposite. So I'm more like academic than say creative. Right. Although I might have done like say dance and played instruments as well, like growing up, but I always found it hard to do the creative bit, like because there was a piece of me kind of being vulnerable, and like that vulnerability of kind of being judged as being good or being not so good, and I didn't really like it from a creative perspective because I felt like with numbers, like with maths, for example, it's like there's a right answer, there's a wrong answer. You can grade me on that. Whereas creativity is very subjective. And what I really like about what you've just said is that you were able to be honest, like with your drawing, with your rapping, and not be afraid to be vulnerable, as it were.
Well, the thing is, that's a really good point, what you're saying, because that again takes maturity. Because I'll keep it 100. Like, I grew up around all my friends, no one was vulnerable. My mum was quite vulnerable, my father wasn't, then obviously with the split of my family, it was all just muddled up anyway.
Yeah.
Everyone's emotions were all over the place. So I grew up in a weird dynamic of like, I want to be vulnerable, but I don't feel like I can be because there's bigger fish to fry, right? My mum's got cancer, things like that. And, you know, I grew up around a lot of men who were doing legitimate things like that. And, you know, there was a lot of situations and things where there was a lot of situations in my life where I didn't want to be there or like I didn't want to be involved or whatever. So it's hard to be vulnerable in a place or a situation where you don't feel like you can be.
Yeah.
So again, what I was saying, like the whole honesty and things like that, it's like when I started making music, everyone's like cussing me out about, oh, you're white, da-da-da-da, all this and you know what I mean? But I was kind of already used to a lot of these things because, you know, being that guy, da-da, whatever. And yeah, I think over time, it takes maturity to understand that being vulnerable is like the only thing that really matters because that's where people can resonate with you, right? But that shit took me probably like 18, 19 years of my life to realize, like, do you know what I'm saying?
That's still quite a young age to get it, though. Like some people take them to their 20s, even 30s and later.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. I think I'm 25 now, but a lot of things happen in my life where it kind of pushed me to the point where I realized like I didn't really want to be around a lot of these situations. I didn't want to be around these things, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, this is no disrespect to any of the man in there, but in 2019, my boy got murdered, and in 2020, he had his funeral. But I remember being at the funeral on a row of, there was like 15 of us, and I was the only one who cried on that row. And I was, 21 at the time? And I just remember thinking, one of my other brethren cried, and he knows who he is, and he's, growing up, he was like one of the toughest guys I've ever met, you know what I'm saying? And he cried, and he was like, I only cried because you cried. And like, me and him have always had this big bro, little bro love. And to me, that I remember seeing that and just thinking like, this is just so crazy. Like, because I know that they were so upset, but they've never been taught to be in touch with their emotions or be vulnerable. And this is why I'm so open nowadays with a lot of my stories and things like that, because people need to hear this. Like, if I'm somebody's inspiration or I'm their goat or whatever, like, if I can tell someone, yeah, it's fine to cry, it's cool to cry, whatever, they might be happy to feel that they can do that. Because when I was growing up, no one other than my mum and my nana really kind of told us that you could do those type of things, right? Because I used to be around a lot of boys who had the same upbringing in terms of feeling like you can't do those things, you know what I'm saying? So
if they were the ones that like allowed you or gave you the ability to be vulnerable, would you say?
My nana and my mum, 100%. The women in my life have been like the strongest figures in my life, still to this day. Always been the most driven, always been the most inspiring. Yeah.
I love that.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out, Mumsy.
Yeah, shout out, mummy, man.
So you mentioned like not wanting to be in certain places. So what kind of places were you looking to be in, especially as you were an aspiring rapper at the time?
Yeah, I think I grew up in a town, shout out Crawley, West Sussex. From young, like, I always, like, no one ever really made it out, made it out the hood. Like, no one ever really made it out. And, like, from young, like, I would always be like, yeah, like, like, I wanna make £1 million. Like, I wanna get out of Crawley. Like, I wanna go to America, because I love Tumblr, right? So I was idolizing everything in America, right? And I went to Chicago in 2016. I took like 5 bills. I thought I was flipping rich, bro. I bought like 2 pairs of shoes. We went crazy in some of the outlet stores, but it was like that energy in the city. Like Chance the Rapper just dropped Tris,
Rap.
what's that album?
Acid Rap?
Not Acid Rap, the one after Acid Rap. Oh, bro. The album cover, he's wearing the 3 hat, but I don't know the name of the Yeah. The Future song, the 2 Chainz song, like it was such good album. And I remember like that vibe in the city was just so good. And like that 2016, I was like, nah, I need to get out of Crawley. Like there's so much more to life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And then, yeah, so I was still kind of, you know, in the ends or whatever. And I was just like, yeah, I need to get out. Long story short, left. So got kicked out of college, college. I left college, whatever. And then I got scouted for modeling. And when I got scouted for modeling, like I just leveled everyone. I know that sounds crazy, but people need to hear what I'm saying. Like I leveled up like differently because like I'm just this Crawley kid from like outside of London. I'm going to places like we're in now, like every other day, right? I'm shooting Fred Perry campaigns, Adidas, Nike. Like I was in like some big magazines like really early on, like at like 18, 19. It's a lot to handle, right? But because of that, it's like I do all that and then I go back home and I'm just like, you lot are still outside doing niche. Like I really just felt like I really needed to do more with my life. Yeah. But yeah.
So then with the modeling piece, so like why'd you get kicked out of college? Why'd you get kicked out of college?
Bro, I'll keep her buck. Like, so in school, I did really bad in school. I only got 5 GCSEs and the last one was a B-Tech, but it was a music tech and I got a distinction star. So like drama, I got an A in it. Media, like I got a B in it, I think, because the theory was hard, didn't it? But the practical, this is what I'm saying, creatively, I'm so good at it. But theory and all that, I'm so bad. So I went to college, I did drama, music tech. I had to resit my maths. There was something else, I forgot now off the top of my head. But like, I was getting like A stars in the practical and music tech. Technically, that's what they're telling me. But the theory and the way that they wanted me to do it in music tech, I was failing it because they were telling me how to do it, but I didn't want to do it in their way. Same with drama. I was getting A's in all the practicals, but the theory, I was getting U's in it. So like, I'm not gonna lie, like, college was tough for me because, you know, all the Crawley man, then we went to a richer area in West Sussex, and college was the craziest time for me, but it was like so good at the same time because, you know, like you go from one extreme to like everyone's rich. You know, all the girls there are so rich. You know, everybody's dripped out. You know, like this is like when Bape and Supreme and Pyrex and all of that was so heavy, and we're just in tracksuits and fucking the cheapest Sports Direct shoes and whatever. All the girls love us because we're from a different area and we're bad boys or whatever, and all the boys hate us, so we're beefing all the time and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm also now going through trying to be a man and all the trauma from my past, and it was just a lot. And you know, I just lost my virginity. I'm just having sex with all these girls. So I would pull up to college. I would go to like one lesson. That was it. I would just be posted up. I lived so close to the college because my dad moved to the nicer area, but in the shit part. So like I would just get everybody to come to my crib, all the girls, all the man them. My parents went in. My dad, my stepmom went in. You know, so that's why I got kicked out.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had no like. My attendance was so bad, and they were basically saying like, if we don't kick you out, you might as well just leave. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, because there's no point in you being here.
How did that make you feel though? Because did you have like,
you know what's really sad about that whole situation? My mum begged them to take me in. Yeah. Because my mum would tell you, if my mum was sat here now, if I never got scouted for modelling, and if I never moved to London, or like bounced back from me getting fired from my job, we'll talk about that, I guess, like I would probably be trapping because like, I don't know what else I'd do, G. Like I did retail and all that, and everybody watching back home or whatever, they're probably thinking this guy's just chatting shit. But honestly, like if none of these things happened in my life, I just wouldn't have known any other way other than to turn to some dumb shit.
I don't know, you know, because the reason why I say that, is because
that's just how I feel though.
But you could have done it earlier. Do you know what I mean? And like, obviously,
could
the
have.
modeling thing came at a point where you needed it and gave you a new gateway. But I think if that opportunity didn't come, something else would have came. Just based on your personality and based on where you were facing, because...
But the thing is, I wasn't trapping in college, but I was doing other shit.
Yeah.
So non-legit things.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to trap. And the thing is, I'm man enough to say I didn't want to trap because I was quite scared to do it. Not because of like police and that, because like in my area and stuff, it was hot. Like people were beefing like bad. And I didn't really want to, I didn't want to beef anyone.
Yeah.
So I was doing other things. So yeah.
Okay. So with the modeling, so with the modeling piece, yeah. So that felt like a new opportunity. So when it gave you the opportunity to level up,
right?
So were you saying, I'm gonna just like hammer and work on this modeling?
Yeah, I'll be completely transparent because I've spoken about it before. Modeling saved my life.
Yeah.
So like I said, college was tough for me, and we don't have to go into it super deep. But when I was 17. I nearly killed myself because I was just like, there was just too much. My mind just couldn't handle everything. And like, I was going through all these pressures and struggles and whatever. And like, I remember it was my nana's birthday in, I think, 2017, 16. I forgot the year. I think it was 2017. I think it was 2017, April. And, I remember going back to my house, and this is before I knew about modeling, and somebody told me to scout for it, like to go to these agencies and do whatever. And I remember I went, and bro, I had my last tenner. I remember I went. We bumped the train. Me and my guy JP, shout out JP. We went to London. We went to like 3 agencies, and they all said no. And I remember I came back home on my nana's birthday. And I remember I went back to my dad's house and no one was in the house. And I was like, this is it. Like, I have to do it. Like, I can't do this anymore. And, I was 17. And I just remember, like, in that, like, darkest moment, I was like, what have I done with my life to just end my life? And I remember I just kind of, like, snapped out of it a bit. And then 2 weeks later, I got scouted for modeling through Ruben Selby. So Ruben Selby is now very respected in the industry. He works at a lot of agencies. He runs his own agency, talent agency. He's got his own brand, whatever. But he saved my life. Yeah, I owe everything to that guy because he genuinely saved my life. Because not only I was, depressed and things like that, but if I never got scouted for modeling, like I said, I probably would just gone into some dumb shit. And that's what I'm saying. If my mum was here, she would tell you that. Because my mum knows me, like, knows my brain, like, through in, through out. She would be like, yeah, he would have been a drug dealer or something. Because she just knows, like, I was easily swayed, innit, at a young age. But yeah, then when I got scouted for modeling, it was like, fuck am I gonna kill myself for, bro? Look at this shit, bro. You know what I'm saying? Look at this shit. 3-4 months in, I'm getting flown out to Spain. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a bad boy hotel for like 4 days. I remember I was so ill. I had like the worst chest infection. I was so ill, but everything was paid for. I was running up room service. I went to the Zara headquarters. I was like, bro, I'm never gonna kill myself, bro. This is what life is like. You know what I'm saying? Couple months later, I then get scouted to Storm Models, which is like Kate Moss was on Storm Models, like Cara Delevingne, like, and do you know what I'm saying? Like, no one in Crawley could ever chat shit to me, bro. Like, oh yeah, what, you changed? I don't give a fuck, bro. There's way more to life, bro. I'm going to events and parties, there's rappers and shit, and I'm thinking, bro, I could never go back to this old shit that I was on, innit? And then, yeah, from there, I just built this kind of like, this dog mentality, which I have now. And I think that's the way I've gone through the industries I've gone through, because my mindset is next to none. Like,
what do you mean by dog mentality?
Bro, I'm a beast, bro. Like I'm so tapped in. Like, it's crazy. Like, anything I've done creatively, like I've just pushed through like every single door. Like, and I think it started from seeing my parents migrate to the country with nothing.
Yeah.
And my mum, she had nothing when she first got here, and like she ended up doing like internal comms at Unilever, which is like a big corporation. And the way she got that job was she literally was just pulling up to places and like, yo, hire me. Like, I'm an immigrant. Like, I ain't got shit, but I'll work for it. She started from the bottom. And then she ended up, I think my mum ended up on like a good paying wage outside of London, which is great. I think she was on like 50 grand or something, and then she got cancer. But when she bounced back from cancer, she was like, nah, fuck working. She was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then she started from the bottom again and built her jewelry business. And now she got 2 stores in the area she lives in. So like watching, this is what I'm saying, watching a woman in my life do things like that, I'm like, nah, I can't ever slack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My boy got murdered when he was 20 years old. I was like, I can never slack. You know, my guy didn't even have the chance to go to America or have a child, or you know what I'm saying? You know, do simple things, and like he don't even have the chance to do that. So what? I'm just gonna slack and do nothing with my life? Fuck that, bro. I gotta take over everything that I put my hands on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's just how I feel. Like, no one can tell me like I'm bad at something. No one can do that.
Yeah.
Because I have so much shit to back it up. And obviously it's taken years for me to like feel like this, but it takes all these things in my life, you know. It takes me nearly getting jumped when I was 15. It takes me seeing people getting stabbed, or it takes me fucking, you know, what else? It takes me getting changed butt naked and 30 girls at a runway show. It takes these things to build this like this strong skin, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So yeah, I feel like when you have a good mindset, like you can't lose. And like, yeah. No,
I love that.
Sometimes I just be ranting.
Hey, do your thing. So because I like what you said about that dog mentality and like literally just going for it and not allowing things to stop you. So even in the face of rejection, it's like they're missing out. It's not me that's missing out. So when you were modeling, you were still rapping, right? Had you started doing content creation at that point? So how did we kind of go from those 2 pillars to then content creation? Because you can still be an aspiring rapper now, but you decided to pull it off. Yeah,
you know what? We're going real. I'm saying all of my story today because usually I brush past it. So 2017 to about 2021, 2020. Like I was a rapper, right? So the mentality I have now, I probably had about half of what mentality was I have now then. So I was very driven, right? So like back then, I was telling everyone like, yo, I'm the best in South, like the South of England. I'm the best rapper in the South.
Did you really
England.
believe that?
You know what it is? I was so deluded. I believed it because obviously I'm only talking about West Sussex, really. Yeah. There were other rappers there, and they defo felt what's the word? They felt
overlooked.
No.
What's the feeling you're trying to describe?
Like not competition. They felt
threatened.
They felt threatened by my presence because I was so confident. And the thing is, I was great at rapping. Yeah. So like, I wasn't thinking about London, innit? Like I was thinking south of England, innit? But I was so deluded and so like I said, from young, I practiced my craft so much. I could perform in front of anyone. I could rap, freestyle. I had so many writtens. If we go through my notes now, I've got notes on my phone where it refreshes probably like 12 times because I just would write every single minute of every single day. I was so penciled, like I was just tapped in. So the confidence, I really thought I was going to be Matt Miller. Like I really thought I was going to be the next thing in the UK, and no one could tell me different, innit? And with the modeling, I was meeting creative directors, brand owners, things like that. I was just plugging my music to everyone in it. So I was kind of building a little lane. A lot of these massive models, girls as well, who are massive now, we were tapped in then. I was single then, innit? We were tapped in, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say too much, but shout out them, man. But things like that. So I was really just plugging my music everywhere. And then, you know, life goes on. I started getting booked in London. So I started actually making money from it. And the moment I started making money from it, I was like, this is a bit like, I don't know about this. And
you didn't like it?
I didn't really like it. It started to feel a bit like, more like a business than like a craft.
Really?
But so basically 2019 I was going dumb brazy. Like I was going dumb. Like I was dropping a freestyle every single week or something, and I was telling people to tag Chucky Online, Tiffany Calver, all these DJs, DJ Semtex or whatever, all these people, and every time they would comment on it, and I was thinking, yeah, you know what, I'm there, like I've arrived. In reality, that did nothing. But so 2019, we were lit, shooting music videos. I was on GRM. I did a black box, things like that. And then my boy got killed at the end of the year. And then in 2020, I made a song dedicated to him. It took me about a year to make it, but it was like, it's still out there, Phone Call for Swell, if you want to go listen to that. And it was a really deep song, and, you know, fully vulnerable, opened up on it about his death and things like that. I don't know if I should say this. Basically, there's a person in the industry who knew. There's a respected person in the music industry who knows one of my people back home. Long story short, I heard that they wanted to put a lot of money behind the video towards the song, and yeah, I was like, I don't want to do it, innit? I don't want to do it. It doesn't feel right. I don't feel like I should be monetizing off my friends' like death. And it also felt a bit like, I've been doing this for so long. Where was all this money and support and love when I was dropping back-to-back videos and back-to-back music? Because my catalog, like, I got a lot of music out there in it. So it was like, where was that love then? It's like, I don't know, it felt a bit, not monetizing off like a death, but I just didn't really agree with it. And automatically just made me fall out of love with music. Yeah, I never made music from there.
That's so interesting, because like that could have been your chance to blow.
It might, but so basically what you're saying, right? It could have given me the chance to blow, but I wouldn't have been able to sleep at night knowing that I blew up off that. I would have happily blown up of any other song, but that it just wasn't right. God was telling me it wasn't right, innit? And like, I'm so happy I didn't do that, because look where I am now. I believe like these things happen for a reason. I'm a big believer in that. So, you know, when God was telling me don't do that, and like I listened, and you know what I'm saying. Here we are. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Nah, yeah. I haven't told that. I don't know if people are gonna be happy about that,
but it is what it is. It's your truth, right?
I've never told them that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
But it's like people don't have to agree. But the most important thing is that you did what you felt was right.
Yeah, it was tough for me at that time, because no one agreed with that.
Yeah.
No one. So,
but you don't regret it, so no problem.
No, I don't regret it. And I know my boy, I know as well, I think in my heart, I think he's happy that I didn't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like I wouldn't have been able to. I feel like, let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I don't want to get too deep on that.
It's all good. So that's the music piece. And then what about modeling?
When I quit modeling.
Because you were still doing modeling at that time.
Yeah, so modeling, I was on Storm for 2 years, did so many things, and I generally thought, I could do this for the rest of my life. But no one really tells you or teaches you anything during that. The team at Storm who were there, they ended up leaving, kicked me off because they left. That's just what happens at these agencies and stuff. And I ended up going to First, They were awful. And then I went back to Brother, which was the first agency I went on. Did a couple work with them, some good stuff. And then 2020, I was like getting no modeling jobs, couple bits and bobs. So I was working at Tesco, innit? And like in my head, I was just thinking, bro, like I'm a rapper, I'm working at Tesco, like I'm talking about being flashy and shit. Cause I was flashy back then, you know, like I'm stonied head to toe, like we're fly as shit. Cause I was making money, right?
Yeah.
And, but like didn't save any money. I was just being dumb, innit? So then I was like, 2020, I was like, I'm fucking a rapper. I'm working at Tesco. I just meet my girl who lives in London. So we start dating and then COVID happens.
Yeah.
So COVID happens and my mum now lives in the countryside. So I was like, cool, let me go back to my mum's for COVID. So I was still making music in that time. I made a home studio at my mum's and I was just making music every day, sending it to my guy who, shout out A15. I worked with him at Tesco. He's a producer in it. He would just mix my music. Mm-hmm. And then I would work at Tesco because I was a key worker in it. And then I was just like, you know what? Just take me off the agency, innit? Take me off the agency. And this was like September time. And I ended up working at a bakery warehouse down the road from my mum's yard because my pops moved to Scotland. So I was like, yeah, cool. Moved to working at the bakery. And then I was like to my girl, like, I need to get away from everything, innit? I need to move to London. Mm-hmm. And the start of that year, I started making YouTube content on sneakers. So I was, reviewing shoes, and then I made a sneaker show, Forever Stepping. And I basically made a show to interview people in the industry over Zoom. And I taught myself how to edit and things like that. And then because of that, I ended up getting my job as a sneaker authenticator in London. Mm. And then in November 2021, I quit modeling started 2021-ish. And then I moved to London November 2021.
Sick. It's like that 2020 to start of 2021, it's like you burnt everything down. Yeah,
I burnt everything down. I dropped the song to Swell, 2020, quit music, started making the content because I was now living at my mum's, innit? So I wasn't really in Crawley. I wasn't really around anyone other than my girl. Yeah. I'll go to London for like 3-4 days, see my girl, come back home, work in the warehouse. You know what I'm saying? It was good bread. I was earning like 3-4 days a week. I was getting like a bag. Mm. And then I would just be saving that up a little bit, spending it on shoes or whatever, making content, boom, boom, bow. Then, moved to London.
Yeah, then, here we go. So it sounds like when you burnt everything down, your new outlet ended up being the sneaker show, basically. Like your creative outlet, because there's no longer modeling, no longer rapping, and now you're going to create content.
Yeah, create content. So I was doing TikToks and I put everything into sneakers, innit? Like, I started designing my own shoe, and then I was like, let me make my show, and met some people in the industry. And then I was like, I need to move to London. I was looking for retail jobs, really, just anything that could get me here, innit? And then I got my job as an authenticator, and then we go from there. Next question.
To be honest, I didn't really with authentication. I thought it was all done like online. I didn't know it was real people that done it.
Yeah, it's real people. Real people still.
Yeah. So then, obviously, you got fired from that job.
I got fired from that job.
Why'd you get fired?
So let me talk about this. You know what? We're here. Let's talk about this. I got my brother in the building. I'm not going to say his name, but you know what I'm saying? Because it could get techie right now. So I got offered a job at one platform.
Yeah.
But the money wasn't great, and they only wanted me for 6 months. And then I was like, I can't do it. And then they offered me a full-time position with the same amount of money, and I was like, no, I can't do it. And you know what? I'll be honest, because it's good to tell people this. So one platform was, at the time, 2021, they were offering me 24 grand. And then I was like, no, I can't do it. Sorry. And then they offered me 26 grand to stay full-time. And I was like, I don't know if I can actually, like,
what, the new place or the existing place?
The existing place.
Well, they wanted to give you a pay rise to stay.
Yeah. And I think because the manager liked me, and the manager still follows me on, I'm not going to say his name because it will bait out the platform, but shout at him, he knows who he is, and he's a cool guy. And he never cared that I went with the other one. So I respect him a lot for that. Anyway, the same time I was going through the process with this platform, and they offered me 30 grand to move, or they offered me 30 grand to give me the job. So I was like, 30 bags. Like, my pops has never made more than that in his life, like in a job. So I was like, 30 grand, I am rich. I am rich. So I was like, cool. I had about a month and a half to get a room. I was like, this is a breeze, brother. I couldn't get a room. Yeah. So I lived at my girl's crib for 6 months during the time of me getting a job. So we're there. When I first joined, there was about 30 of us. And there's an American company. And so that was 2021. 2020, start of 2022, I get a personality gig with this brand called Coated. I do it randomly. I didn't really think anything of it. They like my YouTube stuff, so they were like, oh, we have this idea, doing some on street stuff. So I was like, cool. We ended up doing it. The video went viral because the kid was wearing fake babes in it. And I was like, I could probably do this personality thing. So that whole year, 2022, I was slowly working with brands and doing personality stuff and talking more to the camera and da-da-da-da-da. Anyway, when I worked in this company, American company, right? Let me just tell you the bullshit that was going on. They allowed racism, sexism, a lot of bullshit. They also, we weren't employed by the company, we were employed by a third party, an American company, right? So we had no benefits. There was no, bearing in mind, the people employed by that company, they were getting private health, all that, da-da-da-da-da. We were getting niche. Yeah. We didn't even have paid sick days, bro. That whole year, I didn't take a sick day once because I needed the money, innit?
Yeah.
Right? Cool. So that was the first year. So then 2022, cool. End of 2022, obviously I'm working doing the personality stuff, whatever, all this bullshit's happening in this company. I hate the company, whatever. eBay are like, oh yeah, we want you to host this thing for SneakerCon in the UK in December. I was like, bet. We confirmed everything, gave me the bread, like ready to give me the money. I was like, bet. I was like, yo, I could really do this. Big brand, you know what I'm saying? Then they're like, oh, you work for... And I was like, yeah, well, what's that? And they were like, oh, it's a conflict of interest. And I was like, nah, surely not, innit? Like, it says in my contract the conflict of interest is like authentication, innit? Yeah, not personality, right? So I was like, cool, whatever. I do it. Then when I did it, I get a call from the HR lady in America. Bearing in mind, yeah, she knows who she is. So if she ever watches this, yeah, you done us all dirty.
How did she find out?
Listen.
Okay, go on.
She knows who she is, innit? So she's jarring, bro, because she let down the whole team, innit? A lot of people. Bearing in mind, that whole year, motherfuckers were getting fired left, right, and center, getting made redundant for no reason, innit? Because they just overemployed too many people, innit? Cool. She calls me up. She from America, right? I want to say her name, but that would just be so peak. She called me up. She like, hey, like, you know, you're working with a competitor. You're not allowed to do that. I was like, where in the contract does it say personality work? I didn't do no authentication with them. Cool. She was basically giving me a warning without giving me a warning, innit? They saw it because I still am very heavy on posting on LinkedIn. I get a lot of work booked through LinkedIn. Obviously, I have the people I work with on LinkedIn, innit? But in my head, I'm thinking it's not that deep, right? Cool. Year later, so 2023, this year. So, start of the year, again, motherfuckers are getting fired left, right, and center. We started with 30. We're on like 15 now. Start of the year, we're down to like 10. Or like, we're down to like 11, right? And I'm like, damn. Then in March, eBay asked for me to host something. So I'm like, yeah, you know I'm going to do that. And the price went up. So I'm like, you know I'm going to do that. So I did it. And so I did it. And then like, I was at work for like a month and I was like, yo, I'll bust case, bro. Like, no one knows shit. I come into work. We were, me, Tris, my dog Tris, Jamil, Az and Steph. On that weekend, we're going to Paris for my boy, Lorenzo G. A lot of people know who he is. He did a pop-up with Solomon in Paris. So I was like, yeah, let's all go support him. So that week, I think it was like, what day was it? Just like Wednesday or like Tuesday? Something like that. So I go to work. I'm just chilling, whatever. I'm fucking, they're like, yeah, can we come talk to you? I'm like, yeah. And then they take me downstairs, bro. I ain't never been downstairs in my life. They're like, bro, bearing in mind, I was top 3 in the UK for my numbers in terms of how much I offed, in terms of my capabilities, so the shoes I could off. I was never late to work, and I used 2 of my 3 paid sick days, which they allowed us to have in the end, right? In a year. They fired me in 5 minutes, bro. 5 minutes took them to fire me, bro. Wow. So I told them, they were like, yeah, it was a conflict of interest. You went against the company, da-da-da-da-da. Bearing in mind, a week before I got a pay rise, yeah, I got promoted, yeah. I just told him, I was like, yo, let's wrap this shit up. Let's wrap it up, because I don't deserve this shit. You know what I'm saying? And that was it.
That's crazy.
I got fired, and then that week, I was so depressed. I was like, I'm going to have to go back home to my mum's. Like, London's expensive, and I cannot afford this. And I had enough money, because I'm really good with money, touch wood. I'm really good with money. I have like an allowance every month from my paycheck, like when I worked. So like I would never be broke, basically. So I had 2 months left of the allowance after they paid me my final pay or whatever. And I said, within these 2 months, I got to do everything in my power to make sure I never go back home. And yes, I got fired. And then I was depressed for like 3-4 days. We went in Paris, and we just had, to everybody else on the trip, it was very normal for them. Like, it was just a cool trip. But to me, it was defo some like spiritual shit. Because I was like, no, when I come back, I was waking up at like 6-7 o'clock in the morning, like I did when I worked at my job. And I would just make content and just approach everyone. LinkedIn, email, Insta, TikTok. And I would just be like, yo, what opportunities are going? Let's work. And I've been full-time ever since. And I'm making more money than I did when I worked at my old job.
Yeah, that's hard.
So, yeah.
And there's something about going away as well, because it takes you away from like noise as you get back to center. So talk about great timing for that Paris trip.
Yeah, right? like the Paris trip, it was my first time where I went to a different country with my London people in it. And like I love these lot dearly. So, and it was a mixture, like Az never met these lot, you know, all 3 of us worked together. Az kind of came in, then they all met Lorenz, and like we were in a different country, you know, seeing different culture, and it was just, yeah, it was like, that trip was just amazing. And it was just like, we were just all posted up in one Airbnb, and it was lit. And like, I feel like it's so nice as well, because the next time I go to Paris, it's a different story. Because like, I got so many people now in Paris over this year that I've met, and like, it's just a different story, innit? So it's a good feeling to go, to know that like that place was one of those places for me, innit?
It's crazy that happened this year as well.
Bro, I'm telling you, just as we're talking, I was thinking all this shit happened this year, like, and this is why, like, when I talk heavy on my shit, it's because I can back it up. Like, no one in the world has done what I've done in this short space of time, let alone the brands I work with, the caliber of brands I work with, the caliber of work I've done this year. I've done back-to-back campaigns, bro.
So let's talk about brands,
Yeah.
Like, how were you approaching them? Like, how were you getting booked? Is it a case, because you mentioned that you were messaging them on all different platforms. Like, how were you going about that whole, like, getting work?
I don't want to give out all my source.
Give us some.
But I was finding a lot of, because the problem is people are dumb.
What do you mean by that?
People don't, it's what I'm saying. Like, I say this to Tris a lot. You go work smarter, not harder, right? So people will message a brand with 1 million followers on it, right, and think they're gonna get a reply. It's never gonna happen. You find the social media manager, you find the PR manager, you find the head of global marketing. Those are the people you hit up. And I would hit them up with a voice message, right? And the thing is, I can give this source because not everybody's confident enough to do that. I would hit them up in a voice message and tell them, yo, I'm the guy. Like, you gotta work with me. This is what I can do. That brought in me so much work because, first of all, on a DM, you have to open the DM. I think it's different now, but at the time you had to open, accept it to play the voice message. So I'd know if I saw that you seen it. And if you didn't reply, I'd hit you up again.
Yeah. Oh, because you're in, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm in now.
Yeah.
And then alongside that, like I said,
Yeah.
a lot of people in the industry, if I see them at an event, things like that, I'll just pull up on them and just spit my game or like just tell them, yo, fuck with what you're doing, That's how I know Will, right? So like Will tell you, I pulled up on him. First thing I was talking to him about how much I hate the industry and how much I'm gonna change it. And what did I do? I done exactly what I said I was gonna do. Because that's the thing with me, like if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. And I don't like really doing that. But if I also say I've done something or like I'm talking my shit, it's because I can actually talk it and like I can back it up with what I'm saying. Like, and then, yeah.
Because with that, you said like you hate the industry, you want to change the industry. So is that part of your pitch to some of the brands? In terms of like, I don't like what you're doing, let me help you improve it.
Probably in like a way in a nicer way. Yeah.
Because what don't you like about the industry?
What I don't like about the industry, the main thing I don't like is brands aligning themselves with people who don't align themselves with the brand. So, for instance, I turn down a lot of work because it doesn't align with me or it doesn't align with my look or my brand or whatever, right? There's a lot of content creators who will just work with anyone, right? And they become rubbed out. But, for instance, let me think. If you, let's say you were a swimmer, you made swimming content, and a brand hit you up about, oh yeah, come make some football content. It wouldn't really make any sense because that's not the content you make, right? But some brands will do that. So like some brands might, oh yeah, like if a brand was like to me, oh yeah, we want you to wear our dress or something, like I don't wear dresses.
Yeah.
Like it would make no sense. But some brands are very thick. Like they generally will do that because somebody has 1 million followers. Oh yeah, get them to wear the dress, but they don't wear dresses.
Yeah.
Get somebody who has an influence on the Gen Z. Cool, they might not have as many followers as you want, but they have influence. That's all that matters. Do you know what I'm saying? That's one thing I hate about the industry.
Yeah.
And it's still going on now, 2 years later. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then, because you mentioned that, because I feel like with creators, some of them do everything for everyone because at the end of the day, it's like if they're doing it full time, it's what's paying their bills.
But you become rubbed out. That's a problem. Like, you become rubbed out. Like, I'm thinking about longevity. I've always thought about longevity. You know what I'm saying? Even when I rapped, I wanted to be the next Rick Rubin. I didn't want to be someone who had one hit song or whatever. I wanted to be a mogul and that. You know what I'm saying? Now I want to be a mogul in everything I do. So I'm thinking about longevity. I turned down so much work because if I do that, another brand might think, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, my audience might think, why is he doing that? Or, like, I'm thinking about 10 years. I don't care about tomorrow.
So do you do free work?
Do I do free work?
Yeah.
The only free work I do is for the man them.
How do you approach pricing then? Like in terms of upping your levels? Because I know your price today isn't the same price as last year.
Nah, definitely not. It's really good, you know. It's a really good question because Triss is in the building, and I spoke about this on my TikTok recently. Sometimes you go, and, well, you always got to know your self-worth, and that takes time, right? But the thing is now, I've realized that brands, you know, when I approach brands, I can confidently say, I can bring this to you. Like, I can bring the Gen Z to you. Look at what I've done with all these other brands. Look at what I've done with my own platform. Yeah. People are calling me the voice of the streets. This ain't no joke. They're calling me that for a reason because I'm outside every single day. I'm documenting culture like no one has done it before. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Some of it's fun, but it's the energy, it's the vibe, it's the mentality, it's the mindset that I'm putting on this Gen Z, you know? It's all positive. This ain't no Andrew Tate. You know what I'm saying? This is all positive, everything I'm preaching. And also, I'm bringing different vibes to different companies, right? So like, for instance, I work very close with eBay. I love them, right? But the vibe I'm bringing to them is something that the UK has never seen before. A lot of the shoes I wear, no one even knows what they are. So I'm teaching not only the youth, but older people as well, you know? No one's ever done that.
It's funny you mentioned eBay, you know, because eBay, like, for a number of years, they haven't been active, I'd say, in terms of like speaking to the younger people. And I think what I've noticed they're doing now with their whole authentication on like the sneakers. Bro, I remember buying a fake pair of Air Max 90s like years ago, and I was fuming. Because I thought it was legit. But then now you've got the authentication thing, which makes sure you get it legit. And like seeing the content that you're making with them is showing that eBay are literally actively trying to get to like, the younger generation.
And that's why I love brands like eBay, because they know that. They understand that. New Era as well. New Era is my uniform. I always wear fitted caps or a cap, right? Right now I'm wearing a bucket. Don't judge me, New Era. But it would have been dumb for them not to work for me. And that's what people need to realize. They need to have that energy over some of these brands. It would be dumb for brands not to work with you because you're the best footballer in the streets. You know, you might not be at a team, but the streets know who you are. It would be dumb for a brand not to work with the next Sloan, right? Sloan. It would be dumb for all these brands not to work with him.
But how do they identify like the right people to work with? Like what makes you stand out? Like what makes you different from all the other content creators? Because especially for brands, there's like two metrics that they're looking for. There's conversion and there's awareness. So do you speak to more of one versus the other? Like what values do you think you bring?
I think I sit perfect in the middle because I could sell a product, but I can also bring people to that product. And that's where people can't. There's so many influencers, big influencers with millions of followers or thousands and thousands of followers, but what influence do you actually have in real life? You know, people come up to me, I want a photo of me. I'm a kid from Crawley, bro. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, that is crazy to me. And people want that because I'm just... I don't know. I don't know. I think people fuck with it because I'm documenting culture like it's never been done before. People might be there making content the same day, but the video they get spoken about is mine. Every single time. There's no coincidence on that. There can't be. There can't be a coincidence on that. You know, a team will play, you're always going to talk about the best player on the team. There's no coincidence. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be the golden boy every single year. Like everybody's talking about, 2024 is my year. I'm trying to have the next 10 summers. Like I don't want just 1 year, innit? I want all of that. So I think where brands want to work with me is because, like I said, I talk my shit, but I back it up. You know what I'm saying? Like brands might send stuff to... Sometimes you gotta go above and beyond, and that's where I am, right? Brands might send something to an influencer, right? They'll take one little story, put it up on one of the pages they sell on, whatever, right? That's it. Bro, I'll go out, I'll make a video on it, I'll go crazy for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful to be in the position I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Like, brands, platforms, businesses, they appreciate things like that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you go above and beyond for certain things, innit?
I love that. It's like you got the hunger and the confidence.
Bro, I'm always going to be hungry because I know where I'm from, you know. Nipsey Hussle said something that I always post on my story, and it resonates so much with me. And I wish I knew it when I was younger. I wish I saw the clip when I was younger. But basically, he says, like, you got to know yourself before you do anything in life. Like, you got to know yourself before you can make a rap song, before you can have an opinion. You know what I'm saying? You got to really know who you are, innit? And this is the problem. No one knows who they are. A lot of these influencers, content creators, they don't know their lane. They don't know what they're doing. They're just doing everything for a little bag. You know what I'm saying? I turned down a lot of bread. You know what I'm saying? If my mum knew how much money I'd turn down, she would scream. But I know that if I turn that down now, in the future, it's going to make sense. You know what I'm saying? And this is the problem. My name's not a joke. FD from the future is not a joke. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
So on that, right? FD from the future. Let's talk about vision, yeah, and then let's talk about purpose with that. So I guess, what's your vision? Like, where do you see things going over the next 5 to 10 years, and what do you see as your purpose? And does that, and how the vision and your purpose come together? Would you say?
So it's a good question, because when I was growing up, all I wanted to do was to be the best rapper, to be the best, whatever, the best of the best, right? As I've grown up, I've realized, you know what? Because I've studied so many legends and so many GOATs and so many moguls, rappers, artists, singers, whatever, one thing that really stands out is playing your position. You know what I'm saying? I love music, innit? I'm not going to be the biggest rapper, but I can interview rappers. I can be around the industry. Rappers know who I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to attack it from a different way, right?
Yeah.
So my vision maybe isn't to be the best of the best or whatever, but I want to be the best version of myself. I also want to take over the media game. I want to bring something new to it. I also want to take over the design game. I want to put out my shoe, put out my brand. And my purpose, for long, I was wondering, was my purpose to be the best rapper, to be the best presenter? People forget presenting was never part of this. It got randomly approached to me, and then I thought, you know what? I'm a funny guy. I'm honest. I might as well just do that in front of the camera, get paid for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? So my purpose, I think now, is just to inspire others in anything I do. And if that's putting out my shoe, if that's getting fired from my job and building my lane, if that's being the biggest presenter in the world, I don't really know. I don't really care, because if one door closes, I'm going to just open another one. And I could be the next flipping, I don't even know, bro. I could buy like 500 car parks and just make dumb bread off that. You know what I'm saying? Like anything I touch, like it's going to work. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, because to me it sounds like you follow like your passions, as it were, and like take it as far as you can go. And then if it's no longer serving you, you know something else is going to come from.
You know what it is like? You know this whole, I grew up around so many people. Yeah, we're making moves. We're making all these moves. What are you doing, bro? Like, man, them are just rolling zoots on the same road, around the same girls, at the same parties, at doing the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grind so hard to the point where it's put pressure on my relationship, put pressure on my friendships, put pressure on my family life, things like that. People aren't ready for that sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? People aren't ready for that. Like, you gotta be ready to risk everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was really, when I got fired from my job, I had 2 months, to do anything I could in my power to change my life. I got fired end of April. The start of May, I think it was the first week, I interviewed Nines. Yeah. The week later, I do the Boba start of May, I do the was it Nines or Central C thing first? Was it?
It was Nines and then Central C.
Yeah. Okay.
I did my research.
I appreciate it. So, start of May, I interview Nines, right? Week later, I do the Central C video. He shares it, 1 million views. The week after, I do the Boba advert. Nothing was the same. You know what I'm saying? That's not a coincidence. That's called momentum. You know what I'm saying? People could be like, it's luck. You don't have luck 3 times. You just don't have luck. You're not that lucky. No one can ever be that lucky. The only thing I can put that down to is consistency and momentum. I haven't stopped since May. Yeah. Like, my momentum has not stopped since May. And you can see the brands who I worked with. You can see the things I've documented. You can see the people I've met. You can see the people I've interviewed. There's no luck in that. You know? Like, when I was younger, I used to always think, like, I'll look at people, I'll be so salty, you know? I'll be so salty. Oh, how did these people get it? Like, people will come up to me, message me or whatever. How did you get 1 million views that I didn't? It's like, you are not me. You don't put in that work. You don't grind as much as me. People could say they grind like me. No one grinds like me. Why do you think no one's done what I've done? People could be like, people try to compare me. I got no competition in the thing that I do.
Yeah.
None. Because no one has done what I've done in the time I've done it. No one has worked with the brands I have. It's not even been a year, bro. It's not been a year.
But when you're in that place where you literally have no competition, like it can get lonely in a sense that like no one really understands what you're up to. Like you said, it puts pressure on your relationships. It gets difficult for you to know what the next step is, especially if you're just like head down all the time. Like you started off by saying working smart versus working hard, but then no one's working as hard as you and no one is working as smart as you. Like there's all these different components. And then even when you work hard and like, let's just say one video done like 1 million, next one 1.2, the next one 700, then the next one 5K. So like with all those different factors that come into like, how do you, like number one, what's your why? And then how do you maintain that sense of like, keep going even when things ain't looking so good?
Okay, so I'm going to reply to the first thing you said. Because I work so hard, it doesn't mean I'm not working smart, right? So I know I'm outworking everyone, but it doesn't mean I'm way better at balancing my life now than I was when I first got fired. I'll keep it 100. Like, I think a lot of people around me knew that I had to do that in the start. I'm not saying my foot's off the gas now. I just do it in a smarter way now. You know what I'm saying? Try get a bigger job or try, get a bigger opportunity, which could last me more in terms of content, money, whatever, right? So that's the answer to your first thing. Because I think, touch wood, I mean, I got my people with me, my girl, whatever. I think I'm doing way better in terms of balance, trying to be a normal human as much as a workhorse, right? So that's the answer to the first thing. You said, what's my why? My why is, what was the thing you asked me as well after the why?
So like, I remember I was with the spirit at that time.
Yeah. I know we're spitting right now. We're spitting.
So like, when you're working so hard, and then you have videos that blow, and then some that don't.
Okay.
And
So
keep going
my why do I keep going? Because my boy got killed at 20 years old. Like, why wouldn't I keep going? You know what I'm saying? My mum moved to this country with nothing. Why wouldn't I keep going? You know what I'm saying? My nana's had cancer 3 times and has bounced back every single time. Why wouldn't I keep going? If these people, do you know what I'm saying? If these situations and the people in my life now have kept going, why can't I keep going? You know what I'm saying? When I was younger, I got arrested when I was 13, 14. I got arrested when I was 13, and my mum told me, you're a disgrace to this family, right? When I was that young, innit? That stuck with me still to this day. I know now I'm definitely not. You know what I'm saying? I'm top of the list. I'm top of the list of my family tree. You know what I'm saying? But those things can really ingrain into your brain, right? I don't ever want to be a disgrace to the family, I don't. Why do I do this thing? I don't ever want to go back to my ends. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to the same parties, doing the same bullshit. I don't want to do that shit ever again. And I don't ever want to feel like I did when I was 17, sitting in my kitchen ready to kill myself. I don't ever want to feel like that. That's why I do what I do now. How do I carry on doing it when I don't get views or whatever? I've never cared about views. I've never cared about views. There's influencers, whatever, TikTokers, whatever you want to call these people, content creators, they get hundreds of thousands of views every single time, millions of thousands of views every single time, whatever. I don't even get probably 2-3% of the views they get. Why am I working with way bigger brands? Why have I got the streets on my back? Pause. Why have I got Gen Z following me? Why have I got people doing this in real life engagement? Why? I'm asking you, bro.
I'm asking you. You told me.
That's why I don't care about any of that shit. Because I know who I am. I know what I'm on. I know about the future. Like, I know about longevity. That's why I don't care about views. If my stuff on TikTok, if my stuff does over a K, I post 3 times a day. If I'm getting a K on everything I post, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Instagram, if I'm doing about 4K on everything I post, that's fine with me. I got more engagement than brands. Whole brand platforms, people have told me, these brands, they use these apps and things which they pay for, and it tells them the engagement rate. I got higher engagement rate than platforms and brands. I'm not even on 10K followers. Yeah. You know how obscure that is? You know what I'm saying? That is outrageous, bro. That's probably never even, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's lit. Because even like when I went through your LinkedIn and like...
My engagement on LinkedIn is sick. Dumb. Dumb crazy.
What you were saying about going the extra mile, bro, you show your analytics. Like you show your, like what you've been up to. And I think that's one angle that sometimes content creators don't look at. They focus on just like everyday people and not like the brands. It's like having a B2B but also a B2C strategy. The
amount of big people who have hit me up in my DM, oh, how'd you work with brands? Why the hell are you asking me? Don't ask me. You should already have that pattern. You got all the followers in the world. Like you should have that pattern. That's why I've never cared about followers, because the 15K, nearly 16K followers I have on TikTok and the nearly 10K followers I have on Instagram, they are riding for me. Like these lot fully support everything I do. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's not a coincidence. That's because I'm honest, I'm transparent, I'm doing things differently, and I'm doing stuff that no one's ever done before. And like I said, I've never faked anything I've done. I would never work with a brand if I don't feel like it's the right thing. I won't just take every single opportunity, and I definitely am honest about that.
Yeah. I really, like, even me just chatting, I'm getting like bit motivation, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's all I try to do, innit? Like,
because I think it's sick, especially like working with brands and still being able to isolate yourself in a sense that you're affiliated by them, but you're not influenced by them.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And the thing is, like I said, like, show me now a time where I've worked with a brand and you didn't feel like that was FD. No one can show me that. Yeah. No one. Because when I go into these meetings, consultations, consulting, whatever, when I go into these places, like, I'm telling them this is how we're gonna do it. Like, this is how it's gonna work, and this is what will bang. And they trust me, and it works every single time. A lot of these content creators or whatever, they'll just do whatever the brand wants them to do. And then they wonder why they're rubbed out. Do you know what I'm saying? This was never part of the plan. So if I can take this over and do something that no one's ever done before, because I want somebody now to tell me who else does what I do. No one can tell me that. Not in the UK, not in Europe, and not in the world. No one does what I do, bro. And like, I talk with so much passion because it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? If somebody can be like, yeah, he's a liar, like this guy done it. No one's done it, bro. No one's done it. And that's how I felt with rapping, and that's how I'll feel with this, and feel like with whatever I do in life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, sick. FD, Fabio, thank you, bro. This has been a pleasure. No. That's so good. You can drink your water. I'm gonna ask you. I got a couple free quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah, you can drink a juice if you need to. So I'll start off easy. Yeah. So first question: a piece of advice that you wish you listened to earlier.
Well, I was gonna say probably save my money from a younger age. Yeah, because I spunked a lot of bread.
But you're into fashion, so it's like you kind of have to. Fashion is mad expensive.
It is.
I mean, not anymore now that you get your stuff for free.
But probably money.
Yeah. What's a piece of advice that you hear people give all the time that you actually think is bad advice?
I don't know how you would word it, but like, basically what I'm trying to say, the advice I would say is to play your position. Know your position, play it. You can't, like, where I learned that the most was Tony Yayo, because I love 50 Cent. Like, I wanted to be 50 Cent growing up. But I really studied Tony Yayo because he was second in command, right? But he is so grateful for 50 Cent. But he always said, like, I was happy to play my position. But I think a lot of the time people teach you to be like the best of the best, and they teach you to be number one, but you can be number one in a different way.
Yeah.
Like I know I'm number one, but because the thing is, I talk with a lot of vim and passion and confidence, but I will never be the best. Because the thing is, once you feel like you're the best in that, you've lost. There's always room for improvement. There's always like, you can always work on yourself, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's one advice I think people get wrong a lot of the time, because they, like, people might be like, oh yeah, I'm the coldest rapper, da-da-da. You got 2 songs.
Yeah.
Like, you're not the coldest rapper. Like, until you're Drake, like, then you can start saying that shit. You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
Yeah.
I had the question that's gone on my head. Okay, cool. What's one thing that you do, like a trick or a hack, that helps you like stay on top of your creativity?
I find creative inspiration in every day-to-day things. So if that's, I don't know, in terms of content, seeing like a funny meme or a joke or something like that, locking that in my head. Or like if I'm designing, I'll think of, I don't know, like this green leather. Like I could be like, oh, that's a nice like overlay for a shoe or something like that. I think, yeah, like real life experiences, using that as inspiration, then like a person, something like that.
Yeah. Love it. There's so many more questions I could ask you, but final question. Where can people find you?
FDfromthefuture everywhere.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, I appreciate it, man.
Take care.
Legend.
Cool.
Come on.